fourth season of The Last Airbender has been a talking point ever since the third season ended back in 2008. The conversation sparked back up when Korra came out, but I really noticed this become a major discussion when Aaron Ehas made that Twitter thread. This famous thread talks about how Azula was planned on having a long and complicated redemption arc similar to Zuko. There are many opinions on what exactly could have been done after such a climactic ending to the original show, but I won't be talking about that. I'll be talking about what I believe to be the more interesting question. That question being, should Azula have gotten a redemption arc? One of the most interesting questions about the show towards the end is whether people are truly redeemable, and this naturally leads to the question of whether people are born evil or become evil. Do they have the capacity to change? As seen with baby Ozai, even the most innocent humans all have the potential to become evil or believe in evil things given the circumstance. But like Zuko, they have the potential to change. If people truly want to open themselves up and are revealed just how wrong they are, they can change. We've seen this side of Azula on the beach. She shows cracks because on some level she knows that she's wrong. However, she refuses to open herself up. Zuko understands why Ozai and Azula are the way they are. They have never been shown why they're wrong during their developmental years. They have been fed this lie and are unwilling to let go of it, unlike himself. This juxtaposition between Zuko and Azula is important. Zuko, by being banished, lived as an outcast and with Iroh's help became humbled enough to understand his error. The Fire Nation was not an amazing nation. They spread destruction, terror, and stood for rage. They were not helping people, but destroying them. For Azula, she held on to her false worldview. This was because, instead of being banished and hated by her father, she was favored by him. Azula had a network of people and influences that rewarded her for being cunning and ruthless. She had no reason to change. Zuko was an outcast and had nothing going for him. He tried and tried, but always failed to become the prince his father wanted him to be. So he had to deduce that there was either no hope for him at all, or his efforts were misdirected. Thanks to Iroh, he came to the conclusion that it was the latter. Contrarily, for Azula, being Ozai's successor came naturally. She mimicked his every move and copied his every mannerism flawlessly. After each successful mission, Azula gains more and more confidence, but after everyone betrays her, she goes insane and is left alone. But before she's left sobbing uncontrollably, she's reflecting on her relationship with her mother at the beach, and again when cutting her hair. She acknowledges her need to be loved on some level, and knows that it's a stronger force than fear, but refuses to accept it. She knew her ways were wrong, but was too deep in them to change. She embraced the monster she was as described by her mother. Iroh saw this in Azula, which is why he didn't want to compromise anything with her. He knew she was someone who needed to be taken down. So on one hand, we have Zuko who recognized his flaws and changed. On the other hand, we have Azula who recognized her flaws but refused to change. I think this is accurate to real life. Some people just aren't willing to change their worldview, even if they know it's wrong and they fall because of it. And I think this is an important lesson. Some people, no matter how hard you try and help them, refuse to change. I think that it's much more poignant storytelling to have us believe that Azula could change, but ultimately have her not change. That's what separates Zuko from Azula. Zuko was not only in the right environment to change, but was open to change, because he had no other choice and a good support system to guide him. Azula was in a bad environment, having only Ozai as her role model. She was constantly praised for being a ruthless, merciless leader, which made her conversely unwilling to change. This wouldn't be a fair comparison unless I brought forth arguments from the other direction. There's a powerful argument you could make on the other direction, and it is supported in the comics. You could argue that Azula redeeming herself would be important for Zuko's development, as Zuko would now be applying the wisdom Iroh had bestowed onto him, stopping Azula from the path that he could have went down and the path that their father went down. An idea I've talked about in my Zuko and Ozai videos. That's what Aaron had in mind in that thread as well, and I think it could have worked. We see glimpses of how this could have went down in the comics. Throughout the search, we see Zuko really struggle with the concept of family. He doesn't know what a healthy family is like because of how messed up his own family was. He understands his family is messed up, but wants to repair it in some way. This is partly why he lets Azula come on the mission and roam free with them. Later on in the comic, we see Sokka and Katara's relationship contrast Zuko and Azula's. Sokka and Katara have their differences, of course, but at the end of the day, they still love each other. Their relationship demonstrates true, authentic familial love, whereas Zuko and Azula's is marked by hostility. Zuko wants that kind of relationship with his sister. We see this when he imitates Sokka's brotherly gesture of blanketing Katara by giving Azula a blanket himself. I think it would be very heartwarming to not only see Zuko learn and apply his kindness, but to see Azula learn and accept that kindness. So do I believe Azula deserves a redemption arc? Yes. The last time we see her in Smoke and Shadow, she's only 16. Everyone deserves a second chance, and she has so much of her life left to live. Iroh laid siege to a heavily populated area for almost 2 years. He likely killed many people in the process. He was able to reform his ways and continues to be a fan favorite character for his moral high ground and profound philosophies. Seeing the major difference in who he was in the show versus who he used to be, Azula clearly deserves a redemption arc. But now the more important question is, do I believe Azula should get a redemption arc given how the story is set up? And to that, I say no. Part of the appeal with Avatar is that it's a show that can be enjoyed by everyone of any age. Azula redeeming herself could take away from part of the realistic characters the show has created. Avatar is not a fairy tale. The characters have been developed to feel very real to life. Personally, I think that the contrast between Azula and Zuko is one of the most important parts of the show, and Azula being redeemed would downplay that. A redemption arc for Azula might be nice for her, but as part of the storytelling narrative, and as a foil for Zuko, I don't believe it should happen. Azula is a tragedy, and her end was tragic. It had to be tragic. She's the physical manifestation of all the damage that Ozai has done to the world. She helps us understand that in a deeply human, relatable way. She's the pure form of the violent, sadistic, destructive side of her family. A living answer to the question of, how could the Fire Nation do such terrible things? A redemption arc messes with that general idea, and it would make the psychological damage Ozai inflicted on her seem easily repairable. Ozai's manipulation wasn't strong enough to change neither Azula nor Zuko, and this really downplays the influence and the threat that Ozai truly was. So yeah, that's why I think Azula shouldn't be redeemed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Most of you aren't subscribed. Like, well over 90% of you aren't subscribed. Come on. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.